And I know you've been giving a lot of thought to how populist governments and leaders have rolled back a lot of women's rights, and perhaps you'd like to expand on that a little.
Yeah, first of all, I think that it's really true that in politics you should never let a good crisis to be wasted, because the crisis is always an opportunity for the improvements, not only for the rolling back. But you have to be ready and you have to have a plan what you will do in case when things are not business as usual. And I'm afraid that we are now seeing the repetition of the crisis, economic global crisis in 2008, when everything was ready for a really deep change of the neoliberal pattern of development. But instead of that, we got this, I would say, really conservative, nationalistic, extremist, autocratic movements all over the world. And on the top of it in United States, which is not a joke, because when you have a dictator in a small country in the middle of nowhere, this is just an event. But when you have it at the top of the biggest country of the world, of the strongest country of the world, then it is a serious thing. And when you look into the COVID crisis, you can see that, in fact, nothing is new in this crisis, but whatever was wrong became visible. For example, the care work in all the societies has been always underpaid, or even done as a care or as a work of love. It means without being paid. And when the COVID exploded, then all of a sudden this care work, which is so necessary, became crucial for the survival of the nation. And then all of a sudden politics started to thank and to applaud to the people who are doing this work, but not to pay it better. It's still underpaid, it's still underestimated, it's still women's work. So this is one point. Another point, how different works in the society are underpaid. For example, retail work. Women are predominantly working in the retail. Many things were closed down in the COVID crisis, but not the shops. And in the shops, who are the working force? These are women. How are they paid? Miserably. How do they work? Precarious jobs. And again, they were there, they were saving the asses of the society, and they were not applauded even. It was self-understanding that they should be there and nothing should change. So another lost opportunity, I think. Then regarding the violence against women, first of all, it was really good. For the first time ever in a big crisis, this issue became a publicly spoken issue. Before, it never happened. In every crisis, the violence is up. But the first crisis of this kind that we noticed that the society was somehow alerted around this. But what the governments did around it? Very rare governments made better services for those who might be more in trouble than before. In the case of Slovenia, for example, the government just didn't do anything in addition to help potential victims, but even diminished the services which were at hand before. Without NGOs, again, which are underpaid, under-supported, the crisis would be even 3 times harder for the potential victims. So these are or for example, it is really interesting to see how public and private sector of healthcare worked in the crisis. Public sector worked, the private sector was hidden. They didn't come to help. And we needed people in the homes for elderly, which are not properly equipped with the medical stuff, in order to help the elderly who were blocked in these institutions without real medical support. And the private sector did not come to secure. And they just stayed at home. Why? Why this didn't work? because you can't have two-tier systems. You have to have a system where everybody is there to serve public need when we have a health crisis.